welcome to the Small Steps, Big Wins podcast. I'm dedicated to helping you take control of your life. Are you ready? Let's go do this. Yeah. You know what, Mark? Let's talk about gut feeling. Where do you want to go with that?
So, because okay, so for the people that are listening to this episode, Sue and I, we sit down and batch record the episode because that's the way we do. We cheat, we cheat. It's more efficient. We're both busy individuals, so it's more efficient to sit down 2 hours together and record a bunch, right? So, in the
Right.
previous episode, we were talking about the dark side of coaching. And there is something that that we mentioned a lot. We ended up with sort of two advice for the people. It was having clear in your mind what type of of life coach you want. That
Mhm.
was the first thing in order to manifest it, right? And the other thing is let the coach come to you. But the common ground of this is your gut feeling. That is crucial. And during the last episode that we recorded, that the people, you should go, we'll put the link in the show notes so you can listen to the other episode about the dark side of life coaching. The gut feeling aspect of things is very important. You know why?
Why?
Because what the hell is a gut feeling, Sue?
Yeah.
I told you I would throw you a curveball. I told you before you press record. I said that's gonna be a curveball because we always talk about this gut feeling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my gut feeling, and then I had the gut feeling, whatever. But what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What
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 happens if you
is
don't?
gut feeling?
Well,
What is
you know
that?
what, Mark? I'll take it one step further
Yeah.
with the gut feeling. So, how often do we have this feeling inside of us and we know we shouldn't do something? Let's go to the shouldn't. We know we shouldn't do something, but yet we go ahead and do it anyway.
Mm.
And you've got that feeling inside of you that says, don't do that. Don't do that. But we
Yeah.
don't listen.
Yeah, and you
I
have that.
submit to you that that's the gut feeling that we're not listening to.
Yeah, and you know that voice I knew it.
Hmm.
Something happened. It wasn't completely rational. It's not something that you thought about. It was not a rational process. But at the end of the process, you're like, I knew it. Ah,
Hmm.
fuck, I didn't take the opportunity. I did
Right.
this instead of that. I knew it. What is that? What is this? I knew it. What is this gut feeling thing? Where is it coming from?
I think it's coming from deep inside, like who
Yeah.
we really are. But I feel like there are so many of us wandering around. We are disconnected from who we really are.
So
And
what are we, Sue?
what are we?
Because you said the gut feeling comes from who we really are, right? You said
Yeah. Our
who are
authentic,
you?
yeah. Our authentic self,
What is
you know?
your authentic self?
Oh, Mark, I hate when you do that.
No, no,
But
no,
it's an excellent
no, no,
question.
but wait
No,
a
it's an
second. It's
excellent
not to
question.
provoke you. So it's not to provoke you.
No, I
It's
know
it's
that.
not it's not to piss you off. It's not
No,
that.
no, no.
It's not to challenge you. I'm not expecting an answer. I'm
Yeah,
expecting you and anyone listening to this podcast to reflect on those questions because they
yeah,
are extremely important.
they are.
Because we say the word gut feeling about 20,000 times per day, right? But we never stop. What is that gut feeling? And when you
Mhm,
say my authentic self, what do you mean? What do
mhm.
you mean your authentic self? Actually, the question could be what is your authentic self? Think
What
about it
is
one
it? Yeah,
second. If
yeah,
if I ask you, Sue, right now to just do this simple exercise, and anyone at home can do it listening to this podcast. Okay, let's imagine this one second. Let's imagine that you allow yourself for a few minutes to just be happy, just be free. What does it mean? All right. Let's say that you just want to feel good. You want to feel at ease. You want to feel balanced. That's what everybody wants that, right?
mhm,
But in order to do that, I would say, okay, if you want that, leave your shoes before entering the room. And next to your shoes, put your mind there. Leave your mind there. Leave your mind outside before you get here and you talk to me. How do you do that? How do you leave your mind outside? What is the first thing we talked about before starting recording? We were talking about the piano I have behind me. And you were saying, yes, When I play the piano, you were saying something very powerful. I was feeling one,
Feeling one with the a connection, a
connection
oneness
with the
with the
instrument.
piano, with the
And I ask
instrument,
you,
yes.
and I ask you, are you connected to the instrument, or you connected with yourself using the instrument?
I
You
think it's
know,
both.
because what happens too is when you play music, where's your mind? Somewhere else. If you play a song, if you play something, I'm not talking about repeating and playing like a robot, like a performer. Like I'm
Right.
not, I'm saying like, if you feel something, if you're really into now, your mind is not involved into that really. You left your mind out of the song. It's not a rational process. Okay, you are perfectly immersed in the here and now. That's your natural state.
Yes.
Here and now. The mind is a powerful tool that helps you analyze from the past, take the information from the past, you know, and project stuff on the future. But the mind is very, very bad at helping you living here and now.
Mm,
So the reason why I'm saying gut feeling is very important is the gut feeling doesn't occur necessarily in your mind. It happens in the awareness of the mind.
yeah,
You are aware of your own mind. If I ask you, like, how
sure.
do you feel right now, Sue? How do you feel? Tell me, like tell me. You can talk about your five senses, and anyone at home can do that. If you take a
Yeah.
moment, you just close your eyes, you do a little body scan, you feel things, you feel maybe you go with your five senses. It smells something, you hear sound, hear it. I have my dogs next to you, next to me. I have birds outside, I have the wind in the tree. I feel that. It smells something. It's warm. And then you can go in the emotion. What do I feel? I'm a little nervous because I'm always a little nervous because English is not my first language, and sometimes I'm nervous when I speak English. But there's a little bit of nervosity. There's a little bit of pride also inside of me. I notice all of those emotion, and you can do the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Now let me ask you, what is noticing what? From where are you witnessing your own self? The mind doesn't witness the mind.
Mm. You almost have to be out of the mind, like a step back.
There is
F
distance. I don't know if there's distance between awareness and the mind. I don't know,
yeah.
maybe.
I
But
don't know. I mean, I think sometimes when I do that exercise, I envision myself because I'm a visual learner. I'm more visual than I am auditory, and there are people out there like more audio learners than they are
Mhm.
visual learners. To me, as you were explaining to do a body scan, I actually visualized myself hovering above myself, taking the scan, where the
Very good.
mind is outside of myself, where it's almost I am a passive observer.
Wait, is it the mind that is outside of yourself, or it's your awareness that is outside of your mind? Are you observing your mind? Because I think that's more what you're talking about.
Yeah, the
Because the
awareness
mind, the
outside.
mind is what is what we is the ego, is what we build through the accumulation of our past and the
Mhm,
projection we make from our future that shapes the more or less how we behave today, right?
mhm, mhm.
But still, there is a deeper awareness of that, right?
What do you
Uh,
think keeps us from that awareness, from connecting with our inner self like that?
but the ego, unfortunately, the ego is a very powerful tool, but it's just a tool. And actually, I would go a little further. The identification to the mind is what prevails us from being liberated from our ego, because we identify to the body mind like it's a real thing. For example, when you really think about it, who's Sue Saller besides an idea? Who the hell are you? You're just an idea. You're just a bunch of ideas, and that's great. Me too. Who's Mark? A bunch of ideas. It's just an idea. That's it. It's just thoughts that comes now because I have the past that I have, and I have the projection towards my future, and there's thoughts passing in. But Does Mark really exist? Does Sue Saller really exist in the absolute? If you witness Sue Saller, I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Mm. Mhm.
If you identify too much to the body mind, then you start fighting for the body mind. And you get into the fight of you're done enough, you're too much, you're too big, too small, too rich, too you have too much knowledge, not enough knowledge, and blah 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 blah. And you get caught up into this whole thing, and you get caught up in the noise of your own mind.
Yeah.
So to go back to your question, how does one do that? That was your question. What is preventing us from doing this is identifying to the noise in your fucking head, identifying to every single thought that comes in your mind,
Mhm.
identifying even to you as a person, identifying to your work, identifying to your worth, identifying to who you know, identifying to what you know. How many people that the only thing they do is how much study they have and how much they know and how much they this and how much that, because they're identified to their
Mhm.
knowledge, and that's how they seek value. But at the end of the day, you're gonna be dead in on the great scheme of thing, you're gonna be dead in no time, like absolutely no time. You're nothing, you're just a little dust in existence. Therefore, why do you fight so hard to why do you fight so hard to make this mind real while it will never really be real?
Mm. So how would you remove the fight? How would
Oh
you
yeah.
remove the fight in order to just flow with life? You talk about this mind body fight,
Yeah.
and I have to wonder if somebody listening is feeling, I feel exhausted.
Mm.
Maybe I am experiencing this mind body fight that I didn't even realize I had. But now, listening to us talk, they're having this awareness that there's something going on inside of them that they want to release. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say to anyone listening to this, I would start this way. It's very simple. You can experience it now, because when you truly think about it, there's nothing that exists outside of the moment you're listening to those words. The words that are coming out of my mouth that you receive right now, that this present moment, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've built. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care what type of fucked up childhood you had. The only thing that truly counts is here now. The very moment you're listening to my voice. All right. So therefore, the easy way and fastest way is recognizing this first.
Mhm.
And you need to understand it, not on an intellectual perspective, but this sort of, maybe I'm stating the obvious, actually, but we get caught up all the time, right? So that's the first recognition that you need to have. There's nothing really outside here and now. And the other thing is practicing. How do you practice? Very simple. Shut the fuck up twice a day, 10 minutes, and talk to you in a few months. That's it.
Mhm.
Sit down on a chair, breathe, no mantra, no music, no nothing, no
Breathe.
doesn't count, no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing, no freaking guru halamala wajarala, nothing. Shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth for 10 minutes twice a day. And every time you start thinking about something, that's it. You just sit at ease, you breathe, and oh, I'm thinking about this situation with my daughter that, oh, I just had a thought. I just had a thought. And you go back to this awareness of the thought. And then whoop, you start thinking about, oh, I'm gonna cook some chicken for dinner and I'll need to go to the supermarket. And then whoop, you notice, I'm
Yeah.
thinking again about what I'm gonna do tonight. And you sit down, you're not trying to control the mind, you witness the mind. By doing this work consistently, twice a day, morning, night, what you're doing in reality is you are training your being to the ground zero, to neutrality, to calm, actually. you know, because we live in a world where we're bombarded with information, and we binge watch stuff, and we consume content, rah 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 rah, like we're pigs in a Chinese buffet, rah 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 rah. And we our mind is full of salt and fat. We consume a tremendous amount of information, so the mind is always is always at 5,000 miles an hour. So if you start shutting up twice a day, simply like two times 10 minutes, your
Mhm.
mind starts to, oh, wow, it's okay to have nothing going on. It's okay to
Mhm.
not wait for anything. It's okay to, and slowly you will see the noise in your mind will calm down, and you will start seeing your emotion. You will regulate your emotion. It's going to be easier for you to manage your emotions, and things will unfold by on their own.
Mhm.
And once you recognize this, when you practice, life is coming back, the mind will come back, and you will have some strong attack. You will forget about it. You will stop doing it for a couple of weeks, months, years. It doesn't matter. But then at some point, you will come back at it, and I got caught up. My mind tricked me again.
Yeah.
You know, Uh, it sounds a little hippie what I'm saying, but it's not. It's very. And I'm not saying you guys should abandon everything and stop paying your taxes and stop working and live
No, no,
somewhere in
no,
the
we're not going there.
countryside at all. I know.
Yeah,
Keep your
just paying
WT
attention.
job.
You
Keep
know,
investing in real estate. It's great, but then shut up twice a day. Shut up twice a day. Maybe it's gonna make you happier. How about this?
yeah, I mean, what do you have to lose, right? So it's that
Nothing.
recognition and the awareness and then quieting the mind. I wanna pull out something that you said that I wanna make sure others heard it as well, and it's giving yourself permission to do that.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think we are bombarded, like you said, by so much information
Yeah.
that we think we have to do what everybody else says, and we have to be caught up in this new thing, or you have to be this particular person, or you have to show up this particular way. And giving yourself permission that it's okay to sit in a quiet room in a
Yeah.
corner, not being
Entertain.
entertained or interrupted, it's
Yeah.
10 fucking minutes a day. And you know what? I heard you give that advice on a podcast that I listened to in August 2023, and I took your
Yeah.
challenge, and it
Oh,
did work. Oh, yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
and it
course.
changed, and actually, it wasn't even twice a day, it was once a day. So I can't imagine what it would have been if I had done it twice a day. I just did it once a day, but I would highly recommend twice a day. But yeah, it's just sitting there and being quiet. So
Absolutely. So to go back to the beginning, what we were talking about, the gut feeling,
mm,
if you quiet down the mind, if you get rid of the noise, you're connecting yourself with the gut feeling. What is the gut feeling? You come from a Catholic background, right? How do you say in English? God's kingdom is within.
yeah, I mean, yeah, from a Christian perspective, yeah, Catholic too. Yeah, yeah, it
Now,
would be,
think about what I just said and put it
yeah,
in the context of Catholicism.
mhm,
What is it? I don't remember the quote, but it's like God's kingdom is within. We can even push it further. Islam, Muslim, there's one God. Inshallah, one God. They're right, actually. There's one God, it's within.
mhm.
So, so
I'll take
you
it
are
I'll take it
God.
one step further.
You
God,
are
we are
God.
created, yeah, we are created in the image of God.
Of
All of
course,
us
we
are.
are
Yeah.
God. That doesn't make us superior. We cannot take this statement as something not impactful. It is extremely impactful. But
Mhm.
if you reflect on it, God is within you. God is within you. You know, even if you if God comes from the sky in a sort of whatever spaceship or whatever and come and appear straight in front of you and give you his hand, you would still witness all the emotion that you have towards that event. Even if you have a transcendental and you start in a trance and you have an out of body experience and shit like that, you would still witness, you would still be aware of all the emotion and the sensation that
Mhm.
goes through it,
Right.
you know. So when you stop identifying to the body mind, it creates it creates a distance, so the ego is not as powerful. It doesn't have the full control of yourself. Yeah.
Yep. Makes
Gut
sense.
feeling.
Gut feeling. Quiet
So take
yourself.
care of
Shut
your
the
gut
fuck up.
feeling. Shut the fuck up.
10
Twice a day. Yeah.
minutes.
I'm gonna be a doctor. Like people will come to me and yeah, I know. Okay. Start by shut that's actually that's an interesting story. I'm a trained did you know that I'm a trained transcendental meditation coach?
I did not know that. I knew you
Well,
were
I
a
can teach
coach,
you
but I didn't know that.
transcendental meditation if you want. Okay. Okay. I'm not preaching transcendental meditation at all. Okay. But the way my teacher taught me, she was my neighbor, very old lady. Now she passed away a few years ago, the same day that my grandfather actually. And I remember she said, "Hey, Mark, I'm going to teach you how to meditate." I was going through a really rough time. One of my friend died, and it was very very difficult. And she said, "Okay, I'm going to teach you how to meditate." I was like, "Okay, cool." And we sat down on a chair. She gave me a mantra, which is a sound that is personal that I'm not going to share, but it doesn't matter. It's just a freaking sound. That's it. It's
Mhm.
just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. She said, okay, your mantra is that. It's a word, that a sound. Just say that over and over in your head. And I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Sit down. Okay. And then she left. She left. She went downstairs, start cooking, start blah blah blah. She came back 20 minutes after. So how was it? I was like, okay, cool. See you tomorrow. The morning after, same thing. I sit
Mm.
down. She was like, okay, do you have any question for me? I was like, no. Okay, cool. You remember your mantra? Yeah. Okay. Bye. She went downstairs, start with the vacuum cleaner, came back. So, do you have some question for me, Mark? No. And then the third day and the fourth day, and then I started picking it up. I started understanding that this mantra is just a tool, as playing the music could be a tool, to
Mhm.
sync you in the now, so your mind has something to grasp, a sound, something, and that
Yeah.
sound, of course, bon, in the transcendental meditation, I'm gonna say cult because I think it's a bit of a cult, right? Of course, the sound have a certain vibration and a certain frequency that blah blah blah. Bon, I don't want to get into that. Bottom line is, shut the fuck up twice a day. That's it. Take a moment for
That's it.
yourself. No music, nothing. Not taking a run, not walking, nothing. Nothing. I mean,
Right.
nothing.
Right.
Nothing. Not a Tibetan bowl or whatever. Not a guided
No
meditation.
sound, no nothing, just breathe.
Nothing.
Just breathe. Breathe
Nothing.
in through your
Breathe.
nose, out through your
That's
nose,
it.
and
You know,
focus on the
breathe.
breath.
Exactly. Bast
Enough.
enough. And talk to you in a few months. You will
Yeah.
see things will
Breathe.
unfold on their own.
I agree. It worked. Worked for me. It was awesome.
Perfect.
And just for a practical, whoever's listening, I love to take it back to the practical just a little bit because I can see there's probably people out there who are highly analytical like me and they want a prescription of what to do besides shut the fuck up for 10 minutes. They're like, when should I do it? Should I do it in the morning? Should I do it at night? Twice a day? Whatever works. For me personally, it's the first thing I do before I get out of bed. I
Ah,
sit up
perfect.
and I meditate right then
Great.
and there. I drink 24 ounces of water that I put next to my nightstand the night before. And then I put my meditation on and I meditate
Yeah.
15 minutes. And that's it before I ever even get out of bed. So, and then the last thing right before I go to bed, turn it on as I'm laying there getting ready to fall asleep. So,
Exactly.
and get in tune with your gut feelings, start listening to those things that are inside. And I would also follow it up with a little bit of journaling. If you're not journal,
Why not?
capture that stuff on paper so that you can remember you had these experiences and you can go back to them again. So, Mark, thanks.
You're
Thanks for your
welcome.
insight on listening to our gut and how we can go about doing that. So, I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, Sue.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Small Steps, Big Wins podcast. I value your time with me and I seek to make every moment count. In order to make lasting change in your life, listening is usually not enough. So I want to ask you, what practical steps are you going to put into action today as a result of listening to this podcast? Remember, any step, any action, no matter how small, starts your journey to a big win. And if you're not sure where to get started, check out my website, personalcoachfinder.com, and find someone who can help. Remember, life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by choice. Take small steps today and make your life awesome, friends.